So I'm sure most of you have seen a map of the United States hundreds of times. So if you can, I want you to picture the state of Texas and obviously think about how large it is compared to all the other states around it. And it is the second largest state just behind Alaska. And then I want you to take that and double it. And then, as seen here, you will get the area covered by something called the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, which is the largest accumulation of ocean plastic in the world, and it spans over 994,000 square miles. So, there are 5 garbage patches in the world's oceans. However, number 1, seen here, is the largest. And what a garbage patch is when all the plastic and trash and pollution in the ocean are kind of pulled together by these circular ocean currents called gyres. And it's almost like a whirlpool and kind of collects them into one centralized area, as you can see here. And these things are gigantic. It's estimated that 1.8 trillion pieces of plastic are floating in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch alone. About 94% of that plastic is microplastic, as you can see there, which is super small pieces of plastic that are like 0.5 centimeters or less in size. And it also consists of some macroplastics, like what you might picture, like water bottles and containers and caps and cans and things like that. And they're all kind of together in this big garbage patch. So many people, when they think of a garbage patch, they would picture these things, which are just huge islands of trash, which is true. There are plenty of places in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch where you would see a giant clump of visible trash. However, in other places you may just see this, which looks like nothing. However, under the surface there could be millions and billions of microplastic pieces that you just can't really see from above. One analogy that many people use is pepper flakes floating in a soup, but in this case there are such a large number of pepper flakes that it's become a problem. Also, researchers have found through looking at where the trash in the garbage patch is from that over 80% of it comes from human activity in North America and Asia. So obviously this has a huge effect on marine life. You guys are probably thinking this, and you can see in the pictures, marine life can get trapped in the nets and die. They can also get super sick from eating and consuming the plastic. Some researchers found that there are turtles out there where 74% of their diet consists of plastic debris because their environments are just completely covered in trash and pollution from humans. But in addition to those two things, ecosystems are also really harmed because the trash blocks all sunlight into the water, which kills algae and plankton because they aren't able to produce their food from sunlight. And since they're autotrophs, they're kind of at the center of the food web, and when they die, there isn't enough food for the larger species like sharks and whales and tuna and other seafood that we like to eat. Now, this also affects humans because when the seafood that we eat eats toxins and we catch the seafood, we eat the seafood, we are also ingesting the toxins that it received from the plastic that it eats in the water, which could lead to really big health issues in the future as more and more trash and pollution is going into these animals' diets. Trash below the surface can also damage ships and vessels in water, and it's estimated that environmental damage caused by ocean plastic to marine life alone has cost us over $13 billion. So one thing that a lot of people would ask is like, what happens if we do nothing? And obviously these garbage patches will continue to grow, continue to become more concentrated with plastic, and will continue to lose marine life, and it will harm humans' health in the future as we move forward. However, it's not super easy to clean these things. since the garbage patches are all so far from the mainlands, no country wants to take responsibility for them because the cleaning process would be very time consuming and very expensive, so nobody really wants to do it by themselves. Also, since most of the patch is made up of the tiny microplastics that are 5 millimeters in size, and it's constantly being mixed by currents and wind, it's really hard to capture those plastics, and it's also extremely hard if we wanted to use nets to capture the plastic. It would also obviously capture marine life and end up hurting the environment just as much. So there are some things that we can do. For large companies in the government, they really need to work on assisting and encouraging the public to switch from plastic to more reusable or biodegradable items. Also, the government should work on creating more efficient waste, litter, and stormwater runoff systems, because the reason there's so much plastic in the ocean is because we can't effectively deal with it on Earth. We need to find better ways to channel trash into areas where it's not harming the environment or getting into the ocean or getting into places where animals can be interacting with it. And us as citizens ourselves can obviously do the little things, which, if everyone does them, will make a huge difference. So things like reducing your own plastic consumption by using reusable bags, water bottles, straws, and containers, so that we can slowly but surely start transitioning away from using so much plastic. So obviously, the Great Pacific Garbage Patch is a huge problem because of its massive size, and it not only impacts marine animals but also humans as well. And we ourselves need to take action and reduce our plastic usage.